Hello everyone, welcome to my second video of the saga of function operations. In this video we will be looking at subtraction. If you're watching my other videos, you'll notice that we're using the same two functions. Every time you do these problems, the function should be given to you. In this case we have f of x, which is 3x squared minus 5x plus 6, and g of x, which is 8x minus 7. So what we are going to do is subtract these two functions. And again, we know that we're subtracting them because of the minus sign that they put between the two functions f and g. And if you're curious about this notation, I touched about it briefly in the last video. You can go back and watch that. So here we want to subtract the two functions. The first thing I like to do is write the two functions. Now, subtraction is not commutative, so we're going to have to write them in the correct order, the way they show up. In this case, f minus g. So I need to write my f function first, which is 3x squared minus 5x plus 6. And then we're going to subtract, so minus. And then the g function, which is 8x minus 7. In this case, we are subtracting, so it's very important that I put the functions in parentheses, more specifically the function to the right of the minus sign. Because here, we're going to have to subtract all of g of x. So that means we're going to need to distribute this minus sign into the function g of x. Now, you don't actually have to distribute it. You can. What I like to do is leave it how it looks now, and when I start operating on the functions, I come over and stop at the minus sign to know what to do to the two different terms. So just like addition, subtraction, we are going to combine like terms. So we're going to take a look, start with the first one, see what we have, a 3x squared. Again, like terms have the same combination of variables and exponents. And in this particular problem, there are no other x squared terms. So we're just going to have that 3x squared stay as is. And then again, I'm going to look at the next term. In this case, the next term is a minus 5x. So I'm going to go ahead and circle the minus 5x and see if there are any other x terms, in this case, the 8x. Now, when I'm combining these two, I need to make sure I take that negative 5x and then minus the 8x. All right, so I'm going to stop off at the operation in between so I know what to do to these two numbers, in this case, subtraction. So negative 5 minus 8 is negative 13x. Again, when you're combining them, you're just combining the coefficients, the numbers to the left of the variables. Negative 5 minus 8 is negative 13, and then the x stays the same. So then the next term I'm going to look at is the constant term, which we have a plus 6 and a minus 7. So I'm going to take 6 minus negative 7. I have to make sure I take into account both the minus sign that's between the two functions and the negative sign that's in front or to the left of the 7. So plus 6 minus negative 7. Remember, when you're subtracting a negative, it's like adding the two numbers. So plus 6 minus negative 7 is like 6 plus 7, which is a positive 13 or plus 13. And then we have our final answer. Again, I can go ahead and if I wanted to write it as f minus g of x equals 3x squared minus 13x plus 13.